Welcome, acolytes. VAs crash out again, because of course they do. And by the way, those VAs just make unions look very bad. And I mean very bad. It's quite frankly disgusting. But let's just see what Ref has to say about it, won't we?
Hey, what's up, guys? Rip here. So let's cut right to the chase. We have some big news involving the SAG-AFTRA video game strike. It is over. It's finally come to an end after nearly a year. And if you think the voice actors who were trying to use this to push their agenda were mad before, they are seething even harder now, knowing that their efforts have been in vain. In fact, they blew up in their own face, and now they've caused a ton of damage to their reputation and the reputation of the English voice acting scene as a whole. And
that's correct. I'm gonna be honest, it basically killed it. There isn't even anything you could argue against it. It's just done. It's done. Simple as that. Specifically the English VA, because nobody wants to deal with it. I mean, if I'm gonna be honest, if I wanted to hire someone and heard, okay, English VA, fuck him. No chance.
We're going to look at some of their crash outs on various social media platforms today. But before we get into that, let's just run through the timeline of events to get context here. So in July of 2024, SAG-AFTRA, an American union for voice actors, they started a strike to try to get better deals with various video game companies. Now, complicating this was a group of voice actors from games like Genshin Impact, as well as Zenless Zone Zero and a few others. They joined in with their own quote-unquote strike. They tried to masquerade their boycott as a part of the overall strike, which would confuse people because they were also saying this was about AI protection, as well as trying to get better deals, and that they had to do this, and this was a part of the strike, and they had no choice. All those things would turn out to be greatly exaggerated. But around March of this year, one of the people who was boycotting was the voice actor for Kinish, and after not working for 6 months, lo and behold, you get replaced. And he was replaced by Jacob Takanashi, a non-union voice actor living in Japan who had no obligation whatsoever to the union.
Yes. And by the way, no effing shit. You don't work for half a year. Acolytes, how many of you can state that if they didn't work for half a year, that their job wouldn't instantly just kick them out? I don't think that we could even afford a freaking day partially. So, yeah. F them.
And Simple. He was absolutely attacked. It was embarrassing to see the amount of his peers, mostly SAG-AFTRA voice actors, just berating him nonstop. Here's an example of one of them. Kaylee Mills, who we'll talk about later in this video, she's crashing out hard. She called him diabolical, and all these other people said he was a clout chaser and that he was a scab and that he should be blacklisted from the industry. It was really, really bad. Now, a lot of people saw these sorts of interactions, and they said, whoa, these people are bullies. Like, they might have been on board with the quote-unquote strike before because they're like, oh, they need these AI protections and, they have to participate in this. People started questioning the narrative. They started looking at these people and saying, wait a second, what they're saying doesn't really add up. And also, they seem like really insufferable people. And it became very clear after various crash outs, especially this one from Corina, who is the former voice actress for Paimon in Genshin Impact. She made it very clear.
By the way, Paimon, very, very, very known character. I thought basically the tutorial character that's always with you. It's, if you play Genshin Impact, you freaking know Paimon.
Clear. Those supposed complaints about AI and the goal of that with these strikes was not the main focus. She made it very clear in her unhinged rants where she called YouTubers stupid and that basically all video game players aren't smart enough to understand how these strikes work. But she made it very, very clear this wasn't just about AI protections. It was about trying to get more companies to work with the union, which would make them more money. And these sorts of concerns were confirmed in this video by a voice actor named Joe Zija, who made it very clear that when it comes to the AI concerns, most of these concerns were already covered by various...
Correct. And by the way, This freak, literally shade on gamers. You know, Genshin Impact. A freaking game. Yes. How the fuck? Who thinks that doing this is a good idea? In what fucked up little corner of your world do you have to live in to think that shitting on your customers that supported you for years, and probably some still do or don't, I hope not, that everybody has enough self-respect to not do it. How the fuck did you think that shitting on them is a good idea? I just don't get it. It's... why? What brain parasite do you actually have? Should I remove it? I can remove it at any point. Just tell me. Maybe you become undead after that, but hey, it is what it is. Better than living your life like it's...
disagreements these actors already had in place. And most importantly, he clarifies that these people from Genshin Impact and other Hoyoverse games, they weren't a part of the overall official strike. What they were doing was a voluntary boycott, what he calls a collective work refusal, where these voice actors just decided on their own that they weren't going to continue voicing characters for these games.
Correctly.
And then they try to masquerade it as a part of the official strike in order to intimidate people and try to get them to also remove their roles. And this was all with the intention of eventually getting some sort of a deal with Hoyoverse, which of course would not happen. And this video is really the turning point, like the final nail in the coffin for the narrative, because people could tell with their common sense that a lot of these voice actors were unhinged lunatics and were pushing some sort of an agenda and using this strike to get their own sort of goals in place. But now you have an official, well-described confirmation of things that we already had a good idea about, but now know for sure. And that's when all the voice actors, they jumped ship. They left Twitter. It was a mass exodus. They all went to Blue Sky, which of course they did, because it's the biggest echo chamber on the internet. And they've just been continuing on to this day, relentlessly posting every waking minute of their day about this strike and about how persecuted they are and how all these YouTubers and other people on social media...
By the way, just to make it clear, Blue Sky is one of the worst sites in this world. Because I actually... It's just so we don't have a misunderstanding here, Acolytes. I hate Blue Sky. Blue Sky is just... I am so happy that it just falls down and gets ripped apart. And it's good. The only positive thing, or two positive things that I see with Blue Sky is... First one, I can actually sort out the freaks in there. So if somebody's on Blue Sky, active on Blue Sky, I can say, yeah, fuck off. Not doing this. I don't want to have anything to do with you. That's one. And second of all, yeah, it's a collaboration of freaks. Let them just be freaks. Let them run and grass and be happy on their little Blue Sky thing. So not the normal society can just have their peace.
Media are so dumb, they don't understand anything. That's pretty much where that loud minority of voice actors have gone. And I do think they're the loud minority. There's plenty of voice actors who are being negatively affected by this while wanting to work and not being able to do so because of the union. One example of that is the Venti voice actress, who made it very clear in this response on TikTok that she wanted to continue voicing Venti, but she was receiving threatening letters from SAG-AFTRA and basically prevented her from continuing on in the role. So there were people who wanted to work but were being stifled by SAG-AFTRA. So it's not just every voice actor out there wants to participate in this collective work refusal. No, they're the loud minority, and unfortunately it's impacting other people who are not a part of it or don't want to be a part of whatever they're doing.
Yes.
And that leads us to today.
And by the way, this is the problem. If you let yourself getting bullied, this happens, sadly. And I know it's always easier to say because you always have a different, or always, a lot of the times the situations you're in or the situation you are in is different. There are some things that you can or cannot do. You always have to look this and this up. I know it's easier, but if you actually let yourself being bullied to this degree, this will happen. It's the sad truth.
It's over. The strike is over. What does that mean for these voice actors? Not much. Doesn't seem like they really got anything they wanted, but there's been a lot of controversy and drama surrounding this entire situation. A lot of people look at this and say, what did you get out of this? All you did was intimidate people into losing their jobs or turning down opportunities, or just straight up getting in their way, wedging between them and their opportunities. And you did all this and set back the reputation of the English voice acting scene. So far, I don't think it'll ever be fully fixed. Like, people have a very negative view of the English voice acting scene because of a couple handfuls of lunatics in the scene who tried to exploit this strike to get better deals for the union. And they got exposed, and here we are. And they're going to sit here and pretend like this is exactly what they wanted, when clearly it is.
If somebody like this tells you that the negative outcome they actually got is exactly what they wanted, believe them. Because I'm gonna be honest, I believe them instantly. I believe them that they wanted this outcome. Why? Because fuck everyone else. That's why. Simple as that.
It's not. This was a failure. And this was covered somewhat in this video by Mugen. He talked about some leaked DMs from various people who were involved with the negotiation committee, trying to work with these voice actors and SAG-AFTRA, trying to get a deal together with these studios. And there were several messages that a whistleblower provided to him where it shows, just to sum it up very briefly, it shows how arrogant these people are. And that shouldn't be surprising. They really think they're in control of everything. And the people on this negotiation committee, they didn't want things to end. They wanted to keep this strike going for as long as they could. That means people staying out of work for even more months because they don't really care. They just want to get their way. And also we're seeing some comments from people in this video where they're basically saying that they want to try to get companies to join in on a list of people not to hire. I think this was the most insane part. A list of people not to hire. They want to send from the union to these companies, basically blacklisting what you would have to presume would be non-union actors. I mean, that is absolutely insane and illegal, by the way. But of course, knowing that their server has been infiltrated, that it's compromised, that someone's seeing their messages, what did they do in wake of Mugen's recent video? They're now trying to falsely report it. They're trying to mass report his video, knowing full well people are going to see this because the screenshots will be shared. They're trying to file privacy complaints on his video to get it taken down. Good luck with that. But it just shows they are very insecure. They're scared. And now the strike is over. They got nothing. Now they're just seething. That's all they can do is seethe on social media. And I guess in Discord servers as well. Now, not every voice actor had a negative reaction to his video. Jennifer Hale here, who is a voice actress, said transparency is good. I would assume referring to the fact that these messages got out there. And then she says, healing is most important. This has been an incredibly difficult and divisive time. There is much work to do to put our community and our industry back together. Wow. Seems like a very reasonable response to this. I wonder what the other voice actors who are trying to play a role in this collective work refusal have to say about it. Oh, here's Kaylee Mills again. Remember her from the beginning of the video when she was attacking Jacob Takanashi? Yeah, she had something to say right here. And oh, she got hit with another community note saying, you are enabling drama tubers and making people in your community feel unsafe, airing their frustrations while trying to navigate a really tough situation in a private space. I really hope you simply didn't understand how harmful this could be. You're hurting your community. The audacity of this woman who is going after Jacob Takanashi and getting on a very personal level, by the way. I'll show an example of that in a second, but going after people like him and trying to intimidate them into giving up their job. And then they turn around and say you're hurting the community and that you're making things unsafe for people. I mean, it's absolutely insane. And also, I love that she's seething about drama tubers. That's so funny to me. Get ready to seethe some more today with this video. But you can see she got hit with a note saying Kaylee Mills talked about making the community a safe space, but yet harassed Kanish's new voice actor, Jacob Takanashi, and supported an abuser, Chris Nyosi. These are not actions that someone would take if they're trying to make the community a safe space for everyone. This is a different person who was accused of crimes, and she was the first one to proudly defend him, which, again, if you're talking about making the community safe, I don't think that's the best way of going about it. But like I said, the attacks on Jacob Takanashi were very rude and uncalled for and personal. This is a now deleted tweet that she made. Number one, saying it's okay for Karina, the voice actress for Paimon, to keep working with the company during the quote-unquote strike because she needs the money, and apparently a father doesn't.
Now, if you need in this deep, you're going in. There isn't any explanation for this. If you're that toxic, that outspoken about it, you either do or die. There is nothing in the middle. Nothing. Exactly zero. Zilch.
Need money or a job because they said so. But she also implies that Jacob Takanashi is not the breadwinner of the family and that his wife, for all we know, is paying the bills. Like, what a ridiculous and unfounded thing to say. Obviously trying to take a shot at him and also diminish his importance in the household and all this stuff. Totally gross behavior, but then again, if you look at how these voice actors are conducting themselves, this wasn't surprising at all. It's just a mask-off moment for a group of bullies, by the way. That's what they are. They want to bully people into submission and to basically force these people to give them what they want, and it didn't work out. But here's another interaction. This person saying, "You're not even a journalist. I'm so over this," referring to Mugen. And this person says, "Yeah, you're so right. You need a corporate bootlicker with insane amounts of bias and motivation to not tell the truth, to be able to report on something." Very smart opinion. And then that previous user replies by saying, "Yeah, shut the F up. I'm asking why a gosh darn drama tuber is being trusted with information like this. Why him specifically? It doesn't make sense. They're acting like these are top secret government files or something. Like they're screenshots from Discord. Like, relax. And why are people like this so mad? Why are you so mad right now? Like, why is Mugen or any YouTuber making a video about this stuff so upsetting? And the journalism comment, I'd rather be called anything than a journalist. And you don't need to have a degree in journalism to understand these situations. That's what the voice actors were trying to do. They were trying to diminish any of the people talking about this, saying, "Oh, you don't know what you're talking about because you can never understand the complex."
This is the thing. Those people think that they are superior to everyone else. As simple as that. There isn't any freaking high reason to actually think about it or anything. No. They just think they are superior human beings to everyone else, and that's it. Honestly, that's all.
City of our world, but a lot of this just boils down to common sense. You look at the way people are acting, the things they're saying, and you start analyzing it just a little bit, and you realize what they're saying doesn't make sense, and also the way they're acting is crazy. You don't need to be a journalist to understand how to make those sorts of observations. But anyways, this was a giant mess, and I'm glad their strike is over, because now they have to go back to work. And, well, they create a very weird situation where people have been pitted against each other, and now they're going to have to see some of their colleagues that they are trying to shame into losing their jobs and try to work with them. And at the end of the day, too, a lot of products, a lot of games have been damaged because of this. For people who love the craft so much, now there's multiple characters that they have muted audio, and they still have to replace those people and get the audio back because they were a part of the collective work refusal which they try to masquerade as a strike, but we all now know that's a load of BS.
Correctly.
But anyways, that's a situation for now. More crash outs to ensue, I bet, but feel free to share your thoughts about today's topics in the comment section down below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next time.
Yeah, fair enough. Oh, the entire thing is just... It's not funny. It's just not funny. Let's just say it like this. I am happy that the VAs get what they deserve. Simple as that. It's just... Does anyone actually feel for them? Does anyone actually think that the way that the VAs are treated is unfair to them specifically? I don't think so. Nah. This is just how freaks should be treated. And it's good that they are treated this way. Because at the end of the day, if we do not actually make them accountable for their actions, this will just continue. And that's something that no one wants, or no normal human being wants. Normal human beings, acolytes, just want peace. Even we undead, we just want peace, acolytes. Or most of us, of course, except for the ones that actually want to eat brains and some. But those are different. This is a different story. But people just want peace. If you let people their peace, things will just, well, figure itself out. It's not even that complicated. But those people seem not to understand a simple live and let live thing. As it is, acolytes, good night.